Hi everyone, my name is Vicky and I am the Lexis rep here at UF Law, and today's short Lexis video is going to be all about Florida annotated statutes. All right, so when we talk about Florida statutes, we're talking about a primary source. And so I find, just like with secondary sources, the best way to show you how to find primary sources and to show you all the best tips and tricks within primary sources, it's best to start with a research hypothetical, which is a question that we need to answer. I'm going to follow the same hypothetical from the flogger video. So if you watch that, it's the same hypothetical. The hypothetical is whether a Florida llama farmer who had a llama wander off, which then resulted in the neighbor's cat being injured, if that farmer can be charged with negligence. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into Lexis Plus to answer that question. And so when you first sign into Lexis Plus, you're brought to the law school homepage. Just a quick reminder, my contact information is right there if you ever need to get a hold of me. But to find Florida statutes, you're actually going to want to start with the Lexis Plus research platform. To get there, you're just going to click Go to Lexis Plus. So just like the flogger video, we're going to stick with the legal research landing page, and I'm going to start by searching for Florida statutes within the search box. And as I started to type Florida statutes, the algorithm is pulling different sources into the word wheel. And so it's just guessing what I'm trying to find. And so you'll see it has, federal, state cases, and then the third choice is LexisNexis Florida annotated statutes. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and select the Florida annotated statutes. And I'm immediately brought to the table of contents. Now there's two ways to navigate this. One, I definitely prefer over the other. The first way, which I don't really recommend, is to just scroll through and hoping you can figure out where you need to go within all of these titles and chapters. Again, I don't find this to be the most useful way. What I recommend doing is running a search. And to do so, you're just going to enter search terms in the search box. So just like our flogger search, I'm going to search for negligence and animals. If you didn't watch that video, I'm searching for the terms negligence and animals instead of negligence and llamas because the term llama is a very specific animal. It's not really a domestic animal. It's not really livestock. And I just don't foresee, the Florida statutes listing out every animal that could count for different things. I think it's far more likely that they'll just use the broad term animals. And so when you run the search for negligence and animals within Florida statutes, you get 89 results. 89 is a number that I do not want to just scroll through and hope for the best. And so I'm going to go over here to the left-hand side and look at these boxes, which are filters. And I'm going to add at least one filter to narrow this down a bit. My favorite filter is always search within results. This is a great tool to use. It's essentially Control F or Control Find throughout all 89 of your results. So what I really want to know is the liability of owner. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my search. And you may notice that I'm putting it in quotation marks, and that's because I want my search terms to appear exactly as I type them in the order of which I type them. I don't want the algorithm to just pick up the word liability throughout a document. I want liability of an owner to appear exactly as I typed it. And so now we have two results. Two results is great. Two results I definitely would scroll through to read. And so at this point, what I like to do is read the title of the different statutes. So this one has to do with liability of an owner, which is very much on point. It also goes down to like fences and livestock at large. To just give you an idea, the next option has to do with a waiver of sovereign immunity in tort actions, recovery limits. All of that stuff does seem like it could be helpful, but overall this first result seems like it's much more on point. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Florida Statute Section 588.15, Liability of Owner. And so this is what a Florida statute looks like on Lexis. Like I said in the flogger video, you have your icons up here where you can save things to folders, print, email, download, Dropbox, all of that good stuff. But I do want to point out that when you're on a statute, so in this instance, FlawStat 588.15, when you scroll down, you actually have the wording of the actual statute right here. So this is a pretty short statute. It's only 3 lines. It's only 1 sentence. And then right below that, you also have the history. And I'm pointing this out because I want to point out the differences between if you were to just Google for a Florida statute, and if you actually look at a Florida statute on Lexis and all of the helpful tools that Lexis provides. And so again, it's just a very short statute, 3 little lines, and then you also have history. There's more when we scroll down. But if you were to Google it, you'd be brought here to the Florida statutes. You can see here it's 4 lines, that's just formatting. It's the same wording, and you also have history. But that is all you have. You only have the wording of the statute, and that's it. And so if you remember when we were pulling Florida statutes from the word wheel, it referred to Florida statutes as LexisNexis Florida Annotated Statutes. And it's annotated because Lexis has a lot of add-ins that can be very helpful. And so here are some of those add-ins. You have the table of contents, which you can open and close. And here's just the Florida statutes in order. So you have the ones, right before the statute I'm on and the ones right after. This can be very helpful if you're close to what you're looking for, but not quite there. When you're done with the table of contents, you can easily close it. You also have the shepherd symbol for the statute. So even though a statute has been enacted, it can still be challenged. And what a challenge can do to a statute varies. It can overturn it, it can hold the entire statute or even part of the statute unconstitutional. Like I said, the treatment varies, and we'll get into shepherds later within the semester, but just know that the shepherd symbol is located right over here on the right. And then below the shepherd symbol, you'll actually see that there are archived code versions. Archived code versions are the previous version of this statute. You might be wondering, why do you care about the previous versions? Wouldn't you only care about the year that we're in? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Let's say you are practicing law and a client comes in and they, have been charged with potentially breaking the law back in 2008. Well, you would need to know what the law was back in 2008 to see if they had broken it. And so you'd want to go to the archived code versions to find out that statute. Another thing that can be very useful are case notes. So I'm going to scroll down. And now case notes are by far my favorite feature of statutes, and I would say they are by far the most helpful feature of statutes. So just a quick refresher, this statute is 3 little lines and only 1 sentence. Case notes pulls out all the different areas of law that are brought up within the statute. So within those 3 little lines, Civ Pro, evidence, and torts are all relevant, and then it even goes down to subcategorize those larger items. So how I recommend using this is to look through and find the areas of law that are relevant to you. And so if you remember from my Flodger video, I mentioned the highlighting that Lexis provides just highlights your search terms. So I can easily see which of these case notes is going to be relevant to me. We have some that mention negligence, animals, negligence again, and we have animals. And so if I wanted to look more about this torts, harm caused by animals area, I would just click on the blue arrow next to it. And I'm going to be brought down to a section that lists cases that have cited to my specific statute, so Florida Statute 588.15, that have to specifically do with torts, strict liability, and harm caused by animals. And so this has just taken out a ton of the work that I would have to do. Because once you find a statute, that's great. You can cite to a statute for authority. They are a primary source, but you're also going to want to find cases that help back your statute up. And that can be a little more challenging to try to find cases that cite specifically to your statute and specifically to what you're researching. This has done that work for you. And so a great way to check along the research process to see if you're in the right direction is to see if you're seeing the same cases and statutes and sources pulling up again and again. And so we already know that the tool case is relevant because we found that through our Flodger article. And so I know that I'm in a good direction, and so I can open up these cases to broaden my research even more. The nice thing about finding case notes within like Florida statutes, these are going to be Florida specific cases, so I know that they're jurisdictionally relevant. And if I want to open up any of those cases, if it's blue on Lexis, it's going to be hyperlinked, so I can easily just open up, let's say, this Selby case. And then I found another primary source that I can cite back to. Before we end this Florida statute video, I do just want to remind you that my contact information can be found on the law school homepage. And if you're interested in attending any of the upcoming Fall 2020 Zoom trainings, I've put the schedule right here on the screen. You can also find this as well as the Zoom links on the law school homepage under the training calendar. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you guys so much for listening to this video all about Florida statutes.